Hey there, I was just reading about one of my favorite subjects and actually America's favorite pastime. What? You forgot what it is? Why, it's baseball, of course. And if you're looking for a book that features baseball, then I've got one just for you. It's The Big Field, which is written by Mike Lupica. And you might have heard of him. He is an ESPN commentator, a sports writer, and yes, you guessed it, he also writes great novels for young adults, just like this one, The Big Field. This is the second Lupica baseball book that I've read, and I can highly recommend this one for anyone who loves baseball, anyone who loves softball, anyone with some dad issues, or someone who just wants to read a well-written book that features sports as part of its major theme. In The Big Field, Keith Hutchinson, known as Hutch, has played shortstop since his very first year in Little League. Now he's on a Florida American Legion team, trying to help his team win the Summer League Championship. But this star shortstop is suddenly moved to second base when Darryl D. Will Williams arrives to play on the team. Almost worse than no longer playing shortstop is the fact that suddenly Hutch's dad is giving D. Will, of all people, some playing tips. You see, Hutch's dad used to play professional baseball, and even then he didn't have time for Hutch, let alone to go to any of his baseball games. Now, with so much at stake, will Hutch be able to be the player that his team needs and come to grips with D. Will and his dad? I'd like to read to you a section from the very beginning of the book during one of Hutch's games. He could feel his heart in his chest, feel the thump, thump, thump of it the way he could feel the thump of rap music from the car next to you at stoplights sometimes. Knowing that this was when he loved playing baseball so much, he thought his heart might actually explode. He loved it all the time, Hutch knew, loved it more than anybody he knew on this team or any team he'd ever played on. Loved the history of it, loved the stats and the numbers and the way they connected the old days to right now. Most of all, Hutch loved it when you were playing to keep playing, when you were at the plate the way Man Up was, or standing in the middle of the diamond this way and hoping, begging for the ground ball that would get you and your teammates the heck out of here, but with a win. Paul Garner took a deep breath to settle himself, let it out, shook his pitching hand before he got back up on the rubber. Because of the way Paul snapped his wrist, his ball broke like a screwball, which meant away from lefties. He threw his very best pitch now, on the outside corner, at the knees, right where Brett Connors had set his glove. And as mighty a swing as Man Up tried to put on the ball, swinging for the fences all the way, going for the grand slam, hero swing. The best he could do was get the end of his bat on it. It would have been a weak grounder for anybody else. But Man Up truly was a beast, even when he got beat on a pitch this way. He hit it hard the other way, toward the shortstop hole between second and third. Instinctively, as soon as he saw the ball come off the end of the bat, Hutch was moving to his right, knowing that the only chance they were going to have, if the ball didn't end up in left field, was a force at second. The shortstop and Hutch processed all that in an instant, only he wasn't the shortstop. Darryl was. Throughout the book, Hutch, his friend Cody, D. Will, and the rest of the team will keep you turning pages as you find out more about their team and just exactly why Hutch's dad no longer plays professional baseball, yet still has no time for Hutch. I want to read you one more part from the final playoff game, which is near the end of the book. There were no introductions on the field tonight, the way there had been before Game 1. They did bring out representatives from Post 38 in Orlando and from 226, and there was a young woman in an Army uniform who stood near home plate and sang the national anthem better than Hutch had ever heard it sung before. So there was some ceremony tonight, even if it didn't take nearly as long as it had on Friday night, which already seemed like a long time ago to Hutch. It was as if all the big shots from the American Legion wanted to make sure everybody at Roger Dean Stadium realized that this was still a special occasion. As if anybody playing in the game needed to be reminded, Hutch thought. He didn't need songs or flags, and he was sure nobody else on the team did either. Mr. Cullen won tonight's coin flip, making the Cardinals the home team, meaning they had the last ups again, just like they wanted. When he came back to the dugout, he called them all together in front of their bench. I'm going to keep this short and simple, he said in a voice so quiet, Hutch wondered if everybody could even hear him. Boys, if you're lucky, you might get a handful of games like this in your lives. I don't know how many, nobody does. That's why you play. But what I do know is this. You've all got one tonight. His voice got a little bit bigger now. And that's what I guess I want to ask you. If you came here to lose this sucker. No, they yelled, loud enough for the whole ballpark to hear. Are you still too young? No. Is this your time? Yes. He put his hand out. They all reached in. Now go make this a night nobody can ever take away from you. They broke their huddle and ran out from behind the low dugout screen and took the big field. Lupica has created just the right mix of baseball, friendship, family issues, team rivalry, and sportsmanship to keep lots of readers interested and anxious to read more. I hope you pick up The Big Field and enjoy reading it as much as I did. In fact, if you don't mind, I think I'm going to read it again.